Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And greetings to Sir Armizi and our beloved classmate. So today we will present to you guys about the fraudulent financial statement and financial crime. Our team members, Muhammad Asrul, Muhammad Faizal, and me myself, Nur Aishah binti Yusufati. I will cover the topic of fraudulent or financial statement. And as you can see on the slide, this is the subtopic of what I will tell you guys later. So the financial statement fraud is the deliberate over or understatement of financial statement balances, in many cases to make a company appear to be in a better financial condition than it really is to deceive a financial statement user. So macam kita semua tahu financial statement is really important, especially to investors sebab financial statement ni provide the information about company's revenue, expenses, profit, debt, and the company ability to meet their short terms and long term goals. And then the financial statement fraud may involve the scheme of falsification, alteration, or manipulation of material financial records, supporting documents, or business transaction. So later, um, all of you akan faham lah falsification, alteration, and manipulation based on cases or related cases yang akan kami present kejap lagi. This is the type of fraudulent financial statement scheme. There are five. First of all is improper asset valuation, improper disclosure, conceal liability and expenses, fictitious revenue, and last is timing differences. So for the improper assets valuation, most improper asset valuation involve the fraudulent overstatement of inventory or receivable, and improper asset valuation usually fall into one of the following category: inventory valuation, account receivable, business combination, and last is fixed asset. So for the improper disclosure, disclosure are supposed to prevent user from being misled. So it is important lah for that disclosure untuk tak mislead the entity berkenaan dengan information and so on lah. And this improper disclosure always involve liability omission, subsequent event, management fraud, related party transaction, and the accounting change. As for the conceal liability and expenses, it is the scheme that is easier to commit than to falsifying the sales transaction. And the common method that being used in the entity is liability expenses omission, capitalized expenses, fail to disclose warranty cost and liability. Fourth is the fictitious revenue. So we all know that revenue and expenses both are recognized once occur. So under fictitious revenue, it will record sales or of goods or services that did not occur. So it is often involved fake or phantom customer, but also involved by the legitimate customer. And last but not least is the timing differences. So timing differences record revenue ataupun expenses in improper period. So it can be done to shift revenue or expenses between one period and then increase or decrease the earning as desired. Then who and how people do the financial statement. So there are three main groups of people who commit financial statement fraud. First of all is senior manager. So why senior management? Senior management is the most likely group to commit financial statement fraud. And based on the research, the CEO was involved in 72% of the frauds, while the CFO was involved in 43%. And either CEO or the CFO was involved in 83% of the cases. And the motive of the senior manager to commit the financial statement fraud are varied. Next is the mid and lower level employee. This category of employee may falsify their financial statement to conceal their poor performance or to earn bonuses based on the higher performance. And last but not least is the organized criminal. They may use this type of scheme to obtain fraudulent loans from a financial institution or to hide a stock they are selling as part of the pump and dump scheme. Then, how people do the financial statement fraud. There are three ways, which is playing with the accounting system, beating the accounting system, and going outside the accounting system. So for the playing with accounting system, the company will use the system as the tools to generate the result that they want. For example, by manipulate the depreciation charge and the allowance of the bad debt. Second, beating the accounting system. Under this, they may false or fictitious the information into the accounting system. For example, fictitious the sales, the transaction that is related to other entry. And then lastly is going outside the accounting system. Under this, they will use anything to produce the financial statement. Contoh macam typewriter ataupun personal computer. And this could based on the result of an accounting and the financial reporting process for an operating entity with additional manual adjustment to achieve the result desired. And next is the factor of financial statement fraud. There are three factors. Constant true business performance, to preserve personal status or control, and to maintain personal income or wealth. So, senior manager, CEO, CFO, and business owner uh, may manipulate the book for several key reasons lah. Antaranya adalah tiga ni. So, first of all is to consider true business performance. How they will overstate or understate the result. Next is to preserve personal status or control. So, senior manager have a strong ego that may be unwillingly to admit that their strategy has failed and that business performance is bad. Because it will lead to their termination. And last is to maintain the personal income or wealth from their salary, bonus, stock and stock option. Okay, so this is the red flag of the common sign in the financial statement that could help us to detect the financial statement fraud. So kalau tengok kat sini, memang kalau boleh menimbulkan tanya-tanya dan keraguan lah berkenaan dengan financial statement fraud. So first of all is accounting anomalies such as growing revenue without a corresponding growth in cash flow. Next, consistent sales growth while competitors are struggling. Dia agak ada keraguan lah dekat situ kalau competitors lain are struggling while kita punya business ada consistent sales. And then a significant surge in a company's performance within the final reporting period of the fiscal year. Depreciation methods and estimates of assets useful life that don't correspond to those of the overall industry. Weak internal corporate governance, which increase the likelihood of financial statement fraud occurring unchecked. And last is outsized frequency of complex third-party transactions, many of which do not add tangible value and can be used to conceal the balance sheet debt. Tapi, in order to detect the red flag in the financial statement, agak sukar jadi, we can use the comparative ratio analysis and the mathematical approach in order to compare and then figure out sama ada that company buat the financial statement fraud. And then this is the cause of financial statement fraud. If the company or entity did the financial statement fraud, it could destroy career of the individual involved in the financial statement fraud. It will cause bankruptcy or substantial economic losses by the company engaged in financial statement fraud. It will erode public confidence and trust in the accounting and auditing profession, can cause devastation in the normal operation and performance of alleged company, and last is can raise serious doubt about the efficacy of financial statement audits. Well, this is the real life cases that is related to the financial statement fraud, which is Enron Schedule 2001. So Enron Corporation was a U.S. energy, commodities and services company based out of Houston, Texas, and it was discovered in 2001 that the company had been using the accounting loopholes to hide billions of dollars of bad debt and simultaneously inflating the company's earnings. So disebabkan dengan oleh skandal ni, it result in shareholder losing over $74 billion as Enron share price collapse daripada $90 billion ke daripada $90 ke $1 within a year. And an investigation has occurred and it reveals that the company's CEO, Jeff Skilling, and the former CEO, Ken Lay, had kept the billion of dollars of debts of the company's balance sheet. And then they also pressured the company's auditing firm, Arthur Andersen, to ignore the issue. So the consequence of this scandal is those two company CEO and the former CEO were convicted, largely based on the testimony of former Enron employee Sharon Watkins. And Lay died before serving time in prison, and Jeff Skilling was sentenced to 24 years in prison. So anggaran dalam tahun 2025 nanti baru Jeff Skilling ni keluar daripada penjara. And then this scandal has led to the bankruptcy of Enron Corporation and dissolution of Arthur Andersen. And then ada fact berkenaan dengan Enron scandal ni, macam dia punya prosecutor Andrew Westman, dia tak indict not just individual yang relate to the yang bantu Enron dalam skandal ni, tapi dia buat satu accounting firm tu hentikan operation. Tapi macam still ada budi bicara lah kan. Dia punya employee, 200,000 employee tu dapatlah a little consolation sebab dibuang kerja. And then for the financial crime topic, I will pass to Muhammad Asrul to further the discussion. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I will continue about financial crime. There are 5 things I will touch, which is definition, type of financial crime, who commits financial crime, and effects of financial crime, and the real life case. So next slide. So this is the definition of the financial crime. Okay, so before I go through the definition of financial crime ni, sebenarnya tak ada yang official ataupun tak ada yang satu maksud je financial crime. Satu definition je semua pakai. Sebenarnya disebabkan financial crime ni dia punya maksud tu boleh jadi luas sebab under financial crime ni dia ada banyak sangat type and dia pelbagai jenis lah. So yang ni adalah satu definition yang saya jumpa yang saya rasa boleh guna pakai untuk studies. So financial crime is generally defined as any activity that involves fraudulent or dishonest behavior for the purpose of personal financial gain, although it may also include the illegal conversion of property ownership individuals or groups. So that's for the definition. Okay, so next kita akan ke types of financial crime. Okay. So there are 5 types that I will touch and I will share with you guys. It is fraud, cybercrime, money laundering, terrorist financing, bribery, and corruption. So fraud, as everyone know, we learned from earlier semester, fraud. But what is fraud? So what is exactly fraud? Fraud is an intentionally deceptive action designed to provide the perpetrator with an unlawful gain or to deny a right to a victim. So fraud ni sebenarnya adalah satu penipuan duit lah. Satu penipuan duit yang berlaku tak kisahlah individual ke group ke, dia still fraud bila dia satu penipuan. So type of fraud ni includes tax fraud, credit card fraud, wire fraud, securities fraud, and bankruptcy fraud. And fraudulent activity can be carried out by one individual, multiple individual, or a business firm as a whole. And then next is cybercrime. Okay. Cybercrime ni sebanyak sedikit dia adalah base dia juga adalah sebenarnya atas dasar fraud juga, tapi dia melalui cyber. So cybercrime also called a computer crime, the use of a computer or may I add a gadget or devices as an instrument to further illegal end, such as committing fraud, trafficking in child pornography, and intellectual property, selling identities or violating privacy. So cybercrime ni kebanyakannya memang terjadi melalui sosial media, melalui jaringan internet. So cybercrime ni contoh yang paling dekat ni kita adalah scam lah. Scam dekat sosial media, minta nombor akaun. Contohnya minta nombor akaun dengan password. Minta tu nampak macam website bank yang kita selalu guna tapi sebenarnya bukan. Itu adalah satu contoh cybercrime yang berlaku dekat negara kita lah. Okay, next is money laundering. So money laundering is the general term used to describe the process by which criminal disguise the original ownership and control of the proceeds of criminal conduct by making such proceeds appear to have derived from a legitimate source. So money laundering. Okay. Money laundering ni sebenarnya dia adalah satu proses yang sangat panjang tetapi sangatlah berbaloi lah untuk that person ataupun that group yang buat money laundering ni. Okay. Money laundering ni dia akan selalu start dengan fraud juga ataupun bribe ataupun apa-apa yang penipuan duit dalam financial crime ni. So money laundering ni adalah satu type sebab dia satu proses yang panjang dan selalunya jumlahnya sangat besar lah. Okay, contoh yang dalam gambar saya letak tu dia akan start dengan bribe. Okay, bila dia bribe, dia akan dapat satu jumlah duit yang banyak and orang yang dah dapat duit ni dia akan buat satu fake document and dia akan ke bank tau. Dia akan hantar ke bank duit tersebut and bila dah masuk dekat bank, bank akan bawa duit tersebut keluar. Maksudnya dia akan jarakkan duit tu daripada tempat asal. Maksudnya contoh dia buat dekat US, mungkin dia akan hantar ke Singapura, dia hantar ke South Africa, hantar ke tempat-tempat yang jauh dari duit tu lah. So bila dah sampai dekat sana, and dia akan cash out duit tu keluar daripada bank dekat sana. Okay. Bila dah cash out, dia akan beli property, dia akan beli kereta, motor, telefon dan sebagainya lah untuk hilangkan duit tersebut. Maksudnya duit tersebut dah bertukar menjadi satu barang, satu property untuk dia punya ownership lah. And then benda ni kalau ditangkap juga akan macam biasa masuk penjara. Okay. And then is terrorist financing. So terrorist financing ni is the solicitation, collection or provision of act or organisation. So terrorist financing ni dia bukanlah maksudnya penjahat ataupun perompak pecah masuk ambil duit macam tu, bukan. Terrorist financing ni dia ada satu organisation teroris. So macam mana organisation teroris ni yang dapat duit? Orang dah lah illegal kan, so tak ada duit. So melalui terrorist financing ni lah akan ada manusia-manusia yang akan gelapkan duit untuk support dana kepada teroris. So itulah maksud terrorist financing. And next, the last type is corruption. Giving or receiving an reward to influence someone behavior. Macam bahasa senangnya, rasuah lah, kita bagi duit ke orang tu, kita minta orang tu buat something. Itu contoh. And then corruption. Corruption is any unlawful or improper behavior that seeks to get an advantage through illegitimate means. Ini corruption ni dalam satu department ke dalam satu syarikat ke orang yang macam dekat dengan duit ni memang selalu akan contoh dalam satu flow duit tu mungkin dia akan ambil sikit, dia akan ubah sikit, macam itulah corruption. So next adalah who. Okay. Who commits this financial crime? Okay. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first, organized criminal. You can see operation. So organized criminal ni basically dia ni buat type of terrorist financing yang saya sebut, including terrorist group, increasingly perpetrating large-scale fraud to fund their operation. So organized criminal ni orang yang salur dana kepada teroris. Okay. And then heads of state, corrupt heads of state may use their position and power to loot the coffers of their countries. So head of state ni jawatan ada kuasa untuk menggelapkan duit untuk kepentingan diri sendiri maupun orang terdekat dengan dia lah. And then kita ada senior executive. Okay. Business leader or senior executive will manipulate or misreport financial data in order to misrepresent a company through financial position. So macam senior executive ni apa yang saya faham, dia boleh ada dua tujuan. Satunya dia tipu duit syarikat untuk kegunaan diri sendiri, ataupun dia tipu financial statement untuk kebaikan syarikat dia. Dia sebenarnya tak adalah kebaikan syarikat dia. Dia keburukan lah kalau dapat ditangkap. Tapi contohnya macam Aishah cakap tadi, ada leader yang tak nak dia punya reputation tu teruk, so dia akan buat benda ni lah untuk nampak syarikat dia tu masih gah berdiri. Okay, next is outside the company. So who outside the company ni? Orang yang tak ada connection with the organisation. Maksudnya orang yang bukan bekerja kat situ. Contohnya customer, supplier, contractor, or by a person with no connection lah. So benda ni maksudnya orang yang no loss kalau dia buat something dekat company ni. Maksudnya kalau employee, kalau dia buat penipuan, dia mungkin hilang kerja. Tapi customer, kalau dia buat penipuan, dia tak hilang apa-apa dekat company tu lah. Tapi kalau ditangkap tu, dia rugilah. And then next is criminal. Criminal is group of people who have committed a financial crime. Sebenarnya macam dalam gambar yang saya letak lah, sekumpulan orang yang akan merompak, merompakkan senjata dan sebagainya. And then slide, saya akan ke effects. Okay. Untuk effect, ni adalah satu gambar rajah di mana ada survey dilakukan, tak silap saya, pada tahun 2018 berkenaan financial crime ni. So apa effect financial crime ni? Anda semua boleh nampak ada financial loss, political pressure, loss of investor confidence, decreased earnings, funds, restriction on operation, personally identifiable information, loss of intellectual property. So paling besar kat sini 31%, which is financial loss. So memang bila berlakunya financial crime ni, memang benda wajib hilang adalah financial lah. Duit memang akan hilang. So sejumlah besarnya kata memang financial loss diorang akan berlaku yang dengan jumlah yang sangat banyak. And then 30% which is political pressure. Okay. So bila fraud ni berlaku, company effect, negara effect, bila semua benda ni effect, pressure lah dekat politik. Dana pun macam susah dan rakyat pun akan dapat juga effect tu daripada political pressure ni. Okay. And next adalah damage reputation. Effect damage reputation ni, contoh satu company tu, dia orang tahu dia ada financial crime dalam company tu. So dia punya reputasi tu memang akan jatuh lah. Dan nak lagi contohnya accounting firm ke ataupun auditor firm. Okay. And then client loss dengan loss of investor confidence ni 29%, 23%. Saya cakap 2 point ni sebab dia lebih kurang. Okay. Bila financial crime ni jadi, confirm client tu memang dah tak nak ada langsung business relationship with the company lah, sebab dia nak minimize the risk ataupun no risk untuk dia. So loss of investor pun sama. Investor yang dah invest tu pun akan hilang keyakinan macam boleh ke percaya company ni, boleh ke lagi dia nak invest, boleh ke aku nak letak lagi duit macam tu. And next adalah decrease earning. So bila financial crime jadi, business atau organisation tu confirm dah hilang duit macam financial loss. So tapi earning dia pun akan berkurang disebabkan klien dah hilang, investor pun macam nak tak nak. Okay. So sebab itulah earning dia akan berkurang. And then fines. Okay. Effect dia kebanyakannya fine sebab kena saman lah. Kena saman sebab tak ada proses ataupun macam mana benda tu boleh berlaku dalam financial crime kalau ada sistem yang betul macam tu. Tapi kebanyakannya still ada juga walaupun sistem yang dah cantik. And then restriction on operation, bila dia dah buat satu financial crime, restriction on operation ni dia terjadi disebabkan nak siasatan dulu, nak buat ni dulu, nak buat apa dulu. So the business tu tak boleh go on well macam selalu. And personally ada identifiable information, orang akan tahulah sisi privacy dia. Contoh akan tahu siapa yang buat, kenapa dia buat tu, apa jadi semua tu akan disebarkan di berita, sosial media dan sebagainya. And then loss of intellectual property. Okay. Macam property pun akan disita, disiasat, dapat mana duit beli property tu semua dan sebagainya. Okay. That's all for effects. We go with the real life case. Okay. So this real life case I found at one website which is provide the case about the financial crime lah. And then the person name is Samuel Israel 3, as in the picture you can see. Okay. So who is Samuel Israel? Okay. Samuel Israel is a former CEO and hedge fund manager. So apa yang Israel ni dah buat? Dia dah raise $450 million from investor only to later misappropriate this fund for his own personal use. So macam mana dia buat untuk dapat $450 million ni? Dia running a Ponzi scheme. Okay. So untuk yang mana tak tahu Ponzi scheme ni macam mana, Ponzi scheme ni dia lebih kurang macam piramid scheme. Dia macam MLM lah. Okay. Ponzi scheme ni dia akan invite orang bawah dia. Dia akan invite, contohlah dia invite 2 orang bawah dia. 2 orang yang nak join ni akan kena invite orang baru. So setiap orang yang akan join ni dia kena bayar kepada orang atasan dia. So yang macam Samuel Israel ni dia akan dapat daripada 2 orang bawah ni. Okay, 2 orang bawah ni akan dapat daripada 3 orang bawah ke 4 orang bawah. Macam itulah hingga ramai lah. So Samuel Israel ni dia lah orang paling banyak dapat duit sebab every person yang entry Ponzi scheme ni dia akan dapat duit sebab duit tu akan daripada bawah ke atas macam tu. Okay. So bila dia buat benda ni, dia punya company ada jumpa dia punya fake accounting firm tau untuk fake accounting firm dia lah. Okay. So di company ni dah cari dalam 2005 in 2005 this Ponzi scheme was revealed and he was indicted being sentenced to 20 years in prison for his crime in 2008. So dalam 2008 tu dia dah kantoi and dijatuhkan hukuman selama 20 tahun dalam penjara. Okay. Tapi cerita Samuel Israel ni tak berhenti dekat sini. Macam ada satu cerita nama person tu Bernie Madoff yang dia sendiri turn in diri dia, diserah diri sebab dia dah lakukan jenayah financial crime ni. So Israel ni bila dia dah jatuh hukum, ada orang jumpa dia punya kereta ataupun kenderaan yang terbiar dekat satu tempat yang ada tertulis suicide is painless. Maksudnya dia macam nak cakap dia dah bunuh diri lah. Dia tulis atas dia punya hood kereta kat depan dengan debu. Okay. So Debra Ryan ni, which is dia punya girlfriend, mengaku ataupun tertuduh yang tolong Israel ni untuk lari daripada penjara. So nama dua orang ni, Samuel Israel and Debra Ryan, was famous lah dekat America Most Wanted pada masa tu. So tahun tu juga, dalam 2008 juga, dia ni dah dijumpai dekat Massachusetts dalam United States, and dia punya hukuman disambung kepada 2 tahun tambahan disebabkan dia punya percubaan untuk melarikan diri. Okay. So that's all untuk case ni. Okay. Next, I will go with the case study. The topic is fraudulent investment company. Okay. Fraudulent investment company ni adalah a newly established investment company requires your accounting service ataupun kitalah as accountant. The company is managed by a group of highly paid professional advisor. So professional advisor ni provide accountant dengan company legal document, passport copies of the management team, picture of the professional team, picture of their officers and web page link. Okay. So nak dipendekkan, to summarize this, bahasa kita as accountant ni, kita dapat tahu yang managing director ni ada buka satu company yang lebih kurang tapi collapse sebab tak boleh failing to file the account lah. So apa lagi yang accountant ni jumpa selepas dia tahu tu, dia jumpa fraud warning. Maksudnya ada orang yang bagi warning tentang penipuan yang syarikat ni dekat internet yang ada nama yang sama dengan klien dekat company tu. So in our effort to complete all the work, kita as accountant akan contact professional advisor untuk represent the client lah. And then kita kena request CV of the managing director, which professional advisor tu tak boleh bagi. Maksudnya professional advisor tu tak boleh bagi CV tu sebab yang kata tak ada, macam tu lah. And then finally, accountant sebelum pun dia tiba-tiba not available to provide kita any feedback on the client company. So in a final attempt to confirm any information, you cross-check the picture of the office provided. So kita akan cross-check gambar office tu dengan Google Map. only to reveal another host in that location untuk dapat location office lah. Okay, so next, we'll go to the question of this case study. Okay, the first question is, what are the red flags identified might indicate money laundering activity and or terrorist financing in this case? So, apa red flag yang dapat kita identify dalam case ni adalah managing director has a history of poor compliance with failed disclosure requirement. Maksudnya managing director dia dah ada sejarah buruk, and professional advisor representing the company could not provide a CV of the managing director. Okay. Professional advisor tak dapat bagi managing director punya CV adalah satu red flag yang suspicious, and then the previous accountant were not available to provide a reference on the company. Macam pelik tiba-tiba previous accountant tak available. And next, adverse publicity of a similarly named company, inconsistency information provided for the location of the offices. So next question, what are the risks and the potential threats that the accounting firm may be faced with in this situation? Okay, so the first is bad reputation, administrative fines for not performing adequate due diligence, possible lawsuit from defrauded investor, visiting the company to process fund from possible illegal activities. Itu adalah risk and potential yang accounting firm tu boleh dapat lah kalau dia tak lakukan secara betul. So next, the third question, what due diligence work could the accounting firm has carried out and when? So apa yang sepatutnya accounting firm ni buat lah. So the initial due diligence was properly performed. Following the finding, however, enhanced due diligence should be carried out as follows. So as accounting, kita kena request reference letter to be directly put to your office by a European bank on the members of the management team and or UBOs. So yang case ni dia dekat Eropah, so European bank lah. Kalau dekat Malaysia mungkin ke bank negara. Okay. And next is request license to operate from an acceptable regulator. Request analytical explanation of the way business is carried out, such as how the investor pays their money and the type of due diligence the company is performing for the client. Lastly, request proof of head office addresses. Sebab tadi dia tak dapat address office yang sebenar. And then last question, what step may the accounting firm undertake to mitigate risk and possible exposure? Okay. From the additional information yang terdapat, the red flags still exist or are not fully mitigated, then the accounting firm should consider rejecting the business relationship. So as professional accounting atau orang accounting yang ada pendirian, ada sifat-sifat accounting yang dia perlukan tu, sepatutnya reject lah business relationship with this company. Okay. Next, okay, before I go further, I forgot to remind everyone, it is that we don't have the past year paper question. We just have this case study because we could not find in UiTM or the advice of you. Okay, so next is case study about fraudulent financial statement. Okay, fraudulent financial statement case study about Total Precision Company. So this company is a subsidiary of Symmetry Medical Incorporation, which is a manufacturer of specialized product for the aerospace industry. Okay, apa yang case study ni cerita, apa yang Total Precision Company ni ataupun kita state TPC dalam case ni adalah dia participate in a timing difference scheme in order to meet their monthly target. Dia buat timing difference scheme yang Aishah dah explain dekat atas tadi untuk capai dia punya target sale bulanan. So first apa yang dia buat? Dia buat generate fraudulent sale invoice for manufacturing the product that were not yet completed. Okay, first dia dah buat satu invoice sale yang mana produk tu tak siap lagi pun sebenarnya. Okay, and then these fictitious invoices were not sent out to customer but provided support for the fictitious revenue, thus enabling TPC to recognize revenue before owning it. So apa invoice ni buat adalah dia tak hantar pun dekat customer yang beli produk, tapi untuk support dia punya revenue yang dia dah tipu, and TPC ni dapat earn revenue tu lah before recognize, which is duit tu tak ada lagi pun, tapi dia dah dapat dari itu. Macam yang kita belajar lah, earn and recognize tu adalah benda yang lain. Okay. So last, when the product will completed and shipped, TPC will then credit the original invoice. So credit the original invoice apabila produk tu dah siap. Okay, dia dah credit original invoice and masa produk tu dah siap and post lah, and issue new one to send out to customer. Dan dia buat lagi satu untuk hantar ke customer. So dia dah buat double entry punya invoice. So for the continuity, I will pass to Nur Aishah.
Yeah. Thank you, Asrul. So, macam yang Asrul explain tadi berkenaan dengan time difference scheme. Jadi, selain daripada time difference scheme, under TPC ni juga dia buat escalated fictitious revenue scheme dari tahun 2004 ke 2007. Macam yang Asrul tadi, dari 1999 kalau tak silap ke 2003. So, under the fictitious revenue scheme ni, ada dua kategori lah, account receivable dengan inventory. So, for account receivable ni, TPC punya executive ni will assess how much TPC fell short of its sales target and create top side entries to debit account receivable and credit sales, referring to them as provisional sales. So, macam every company kan ada sales target masing-masing. So, kalau TPC ni dia short of the sales, dia akan create top side entry, debit account receivable dengan credit sales. Lepas tu macam refer as provisional sales lah. And then untuk conceal dia punya fictitious revenue tipu-tipu tu, dia akan hantar provisional sales tadi tu to another person to calculate and record the cost of goods sold and meningkatkan lagi lah dia punya gross margin. Tapi macam kita tahu, every journal dia ada relate dengan entry lain. So journal entry yang menyebabkan journal entry tu menyebabkan dia punya account receivable punya subsidiary ledger tu tak balance. So nak conceal, dia download original account receivable ledger into the Excel and then dia tambah fictitious sales to balance out dia punya ledger. As for the inventory, although dah record COGS, company tu juga still perlu inflate dia punya inventory balances to understate dia punya COGS. And this was accomplished in similar manner lah. Macam tadi, dia ada create top side entry kan. Yang ni pun dia create juga top side entries supported by a falsified inventory subledger. So, after that, macam mana benda ni boleh jadi? How did it happen? So, kita tahu tadi Symmetry adalah parent company of the TPC. So, Symmetry ni failed to implement and maintain the adequate control over financial reporting. Symmetry juga did not maintain an effective control environment at TPC. TPC ni pula did not maintain effective control over the period and financial reporting process, and the account reconciliation of a balance sheet account pun not properly performed and approved. TPC juga tiada proper segregation of duties within the department. And last, TPC did not maintain the effective control over the sales and account receivable process. Okay. From us, thank you. Is does anyone have any question?